Last night I entered KvK against the legendary Baba TC Ataturk at 1.26 billion power, which is an insane amount of power, just as insane as all of the drama that led to this moment with this insane rivalry against the Kingdom 556. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to explain all of the drama, the insanity of this KvK matchup. The drama from this KvK alone is through the roof. And before I begin, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, a game that also has a ton of drama. This is War and Order, the sponsor of today's video, a mobile strategy city building war game that has a ridiculous amount of drama. And you can come play with us. I want you to come play with me in Realm 1492, where we have no small number of alliances that have gotten into their fair share of drama as well. And we've got the rank number 1, rank number 5, and maybe soon rank number 2 alliance. Little merger cooking up. This is a lot of fun to play through, and if you like drama and war and constant threat of your city having to be defended, but also defending your friends, this game has been very fun. Some realms are designed for farming, and we're all preparing for the realm invasion, baby, KvK, where we're going to go take over other realms. This is going to be very fun. This video is sponsored by War and Order, and if you use the link in the description to download the game, it supports the channel, it's a free-to-play game, and you can come play with the Smash Squad in Realm 1492. I am having a lot of fun playing this game, working on my equipment, training my troops, and I'll just remind you, as you've seen in my other videos advertising this game, that if your hospital overflows because your city got attacked, you get something called Angel Dust to make the most powerful unit in the game, Angels, and what's more is that you get double your hospital capacity in something called the Sanctuary, where your troops go and you can revive them, so double hospital capacity if your city gets attacked, more or less. That's an oversimplification. You do lose, I think, a third of the troops that would have died from hospital overflow. But all that to say, I'm actually really enjoying this game and very much looking forward to seeing you in Realm 1492. It's hard to decide where exactly to begin the origin story of the drama between the kingdom I am in now, 254, against the kingdom we're fighting, 556. And maybe the place to start is with the kill leaderboard, because I think this was one of the things that started the aggression between our two kingdoms. Because you see, Bunny was at one moment in time, I believe, the leader in kills in all of Rise of Kingdoms, and he was passed by Goodfather, who, in part, got there because their kingdom was trying to drop power, and a bunch of people were throwing siege units at his city, killing them off, and he shot up a bunch of kill points. Now, Goodfather does a lot of fighting in the open field. Make absolutely no mistake about it, but I think that maybe Kingdom 254 was involved in the promotion of the Good Feeder nickname, and certainly have used it more than their fair share. That maybe was one origin of the drama. Also, I think that there was at one point a player in our kingdom, Nugget, who was sort of PR / sort of kingdom trash talker / I mean, I wasn't really in the kingdom, so I don't exactly know his role, but I think as a kingdom, we maybe made no small reference to the one event where 556 had skipped the KvK they said they would take in order to make a migration happen for one player, thus the nickname 55 Skip. But that's maybe the origin of all of this drama, maybe. Let me tell you about the last thing that happened. The reason that we're in this KvK now with Baba, who happens to be in 556 now, but up until this point actually wasn't. 556 got an insane migration, by the way. No, the reason we are here is actually because when we went to register for KvK, we wanted to go Heroic Anthem and not fight against 556, and they happened to have queued for Strife of the Eight at the same time we needed to queue, and there was no Heroic Anthem option. Like, we actually went to queue, and I can show you what this looks like. And nowadays, you actually only get a choice of 2 different KvK formats, and the Heroic Anthem option wasn't available at the time. So, if we were going to queue right away, then we had to do Strife of the Eight, and we had to fight 556. Here's an example. This happens to have Strife of the Eight and the new power-up version of Heroic Anthem, but the choices are not always the same, it would seem, for what KvKs you might get. So either we were going to fight 556 in Strife of the Eight, or we were going to match up against 846 next KvK. Almost certainly, they would have ended up in the same KvK as us, and they just got such an insane migration because they had, I think, deleted a bunch of troops in order to drop way out of Imperium and then bring a bunch of people in. I mean, they just have so much power. I don't know who wants to fight them, but certainly we don't at this exact moment in time. You can't go into a KvK against them because they're so, I'll say, skilled at Diplo that, like, unless you go in with a bunch of predetermined allies, like, you're on the losing end, all but guaranteed of however that KvK is going to go, especially for us, having fought against them before, and there's a little bit of rivalry. So we had basically no choice but to enter Strife of the Eight and fight against 556 because we wanted to play KvK, and we weren't going to skip like 6 times. We're not that kind of a kingdom. In fact, this was like our second pop after our last KvK. And really, it's our last KvK that I need to tell you about now, and the reason that the diplomacy has sort of worked out the way that it did, and I'm going to tell you all about that as well. Because you see, in our last KvK, we were matched with 1875, we were matched with 365, and the notorious 556. Now, that all might seem fine and good, but once you get a closer look at the power level of these kingdoms, 1875 was at a different power level than the rest of the kingdoms present. We couldn't find a clean 2v2 situation for the Heroic Anthem that we were fighting in, and so ultimately we decided to do a free-for-all KvK. Now, that actually is a pretty cool idea, right? Free-for-all KvK could be a really fun thing, even though the map isn't exactly designed for that. We were all into it, and one of the things that happened with our rivalry between 556, because we have fought them in the past, was actually a little bit of a bet. I covered this on the channel. Cortex literally bet his eyebrows. He was so confident that we would beat 556 1v1, and we got that Zone 5 fight 1v1 against 556, and we won it in 2 days, which is fast. So 556 could have, in that last KvK, after we beat them in Zone 5, they could have said, hey, that was a really, you beat us, we didn't see it coming, you're stronger than we thought, GG, well played. They could have done that. And hey, I mean, like, that could have been the end of the saga of the drama between 556 and 254. We could have moved on. Maybe we even could have been, at some point, allies in a future KvK. I don't know. I'm not saying the door is closed for that either into the future. I'm not in kingdom leadership. I should have started with that disclaimer. I don't make these decisions. I'm just along for the ride, and I am blissfully in that along for the ride. I support what leadership decides role, okay? But instead, 556 said, we can't win this KvK, this last one that we were fighting against them, this free-for-all KvK. So they decided they will do everything within their power to make sure that my kingdom 254 was going to lose. And that was really frustrating to play against. Congratulations to them. They definitely achieved the goal of frustrating us. That was really annoying. And although they are entitled to play a free-for-all KvK that way, technically, although the honorable thing to do is to all play to win as kingdoms in a logical way, right? They can play illogically. They can play to throw. They can play to make us lose. They can do that. They're entitled to play that way, and we're entitled to remember they played that way. And that is the genesis of the diplomacy for the KvK I'm in right now. You see why I had to explain all the story leading up to this moment? Because now I want to show you the map for this KvK. At the last moment, we switched to Q for this KvK. We were planning, as I said, to do Heroic Anthem. It wasn't there. We weren't going to do the Desert Conquest KvK because our kingdom doesn't trust yet that that is an experience we would enjoy. And so here we are. We queued last second for Strife of the Eight. Our allies are in blue, and there are 3 Imperiums now on each side. Now, at the start, it was actually 3 Imperiums on our side, 1 Imperium on their side. They actually trained up a lot of power. The kingdoms we're fighting against are in red. This is me right over here. And it is now 3 Imperiums versus 3 Imperiums, which is why my last stream was called the 6 Imperium KvK. Now, the thing that made this diplomacy so fast, and yes, this diplomacy took all of 5 minutes, as I understand it, is that this map positioning we've secured for our allies is actually insane. And I will draw on this to showcase a little bit how this works, because if you just get a look over here, the way these zones open is very, very important. First, the passes open from your starting zone into the neighboring zone 5s, okay? And those are really the only things that you can access at that moment in time. Then the passes open so that all 3 of these zones are connected to each other. And only much later do the passes subsequently open between these trios of zones. Which means if you look closely at this map, we have a 2v1 situation in this bottom lane against Kingdom 1148. We have a 2v1 situation against this kingdom here, 1446. And we have a 2v1 situation up top against 556. And 1256 on the other side gets a free ride until, well, much further on in the KvK, which is actually kind of funny. Good for them, I suppose. So this creates, I think, a really positive map situation for us. And, like, look, it's not like we diploed 5 kingdoms versus 3 kingdoms in this KvK, which is something, I mean, whatever. I'm not going to get into what's been done against us in the past. What I'll just say is that unlike most KvKs, where we're out to find the hardest fight that we can get that might still be winnable, maybe, in this KvK, we took a different approach where I think we're not going to have to play all night and all day, every single day, in order to maybe get a win. In fact, the people who explain this best are actually in the Kingdom's leadership. Let me show you their messages. This is actually in Kingdom 254's Discord. I got permission from Ruz and Cortex to share this. Hopefully they had the authority to say that that's an okay thing to do. But when we announced our allies to the kingdom, the message went like this. I'm happy to announce that the allies for this upcoming KvK have been selected. For those of you that have been in 1254 for a few KvKs now, or came from 1075, you all know that we have been in many back-to-back KvKs now with the odds stacked heavily against us. This is true. Heavily against us. It's very exhausting and tiring to be in so many of these KvKs in a row, not only for the speed up and resource situation, but also for the countless nights where we've had to stay up for 20 plus hours with these last few KvKs. So I am glad to announce that for once, we will not be the underdogs in this KvK. Anyways, enough with the BS. You all want to know who our allies are. Our allies this KvK will be 22, 44, 2100, and 1228. These are all kingdoms that have very experienced leaders and players I'm sure many of you have heard of before. Yes, in fact, we fought against a bunch of these players in the past, and they are strong players. We have been really looking forward to working with them, as always, giving everything we have to win the KvK. They have all been super easy to work with, and I think we will have a fantastic KvK with them. They will be added to our Discord, so make sure to say hello. Other than that, there's not much to say. Below, there is a map of who will be in which camp. And lastly, I would like to thank our Diplo team for the 5 minutes of extremely hard work we all did at Reset to secure our allies. If you have any questions, reach out, and let me show you the map the way they shared it. You gotta hand it to the 254 leadership team for their ability to draw a really illustrative map. So that's the and maybe simpler way of showing which camps are allied in the KvK. Yikes. Now, Bunny also shared a mail, and because this was on Redline's live stream, I feel okay sharing this as well. As it is shaping up, our side for KvK will be 2244, 1254, 1228, and 2100. This is in line with our goal to get a win under our belt and to ensure that we go into the following KvK in the best shape possible to be able to take on anyone and everyone. It is true that we have this mindset of take on anyone and everyone, but when you fight lots of insane KvKs back-to-back, you kind of lose the ability to actually have the resources and speed-ups to do that. This is not to say that this is an easy KvK, just because for the first time in history, we have better allies. This is not a recovery KvK. Make the most out of it because we want to win and then go on to another 3v5 strife immediately or a KvK against 846. It is a bonus to finish this KvK without fully zeroing ourselves, though as always, we are taking it extremely seriously and are willing to do so. We are still required to fight through 2 to 3 plus kingdoms, and we will get fights against everyone. I want strong turnout, don't trash talk or gloat. We've already destroyed 556, and they're really just another obstacle on the road to our goal at this point, and trash talking makes them seem relevant. They would have taken strong allies if we didn't. This is just how KvKs go, and this is true. By the way, I talked about this recently in a stream with Cortex, where we were saying, like, the fact that we are declaring that we think we are not the underdogs in this KvK is not overconfidence. It's just design of the way the map is shaped and the allies that we chose. And if we lose, like, we've messed up big time. Like, something has gone completely wrong. We completely misevaluated the kingdoms on the map. Like, for us to lose from the situation that we've created feels really, really unlikely. It could happen, but something has to go just drastically wrong. And the intention is not to be cocky about what we're doing. It's just being honest. Like, we talked about this again in stream where I said, all kingdoms Diplo wins, and all kingdoms also pretend like they don't Diplo wins, which is not particularly honest. We're being very honest. We Diploed to design a KvK that is highly likely where we win. And we might lose, but like, we've done the Diplo specifically and for the first time intentionally, not for fighting, but for straight winning. Now, that's not to say that there won't be a lot of fighting. I mean, I'm going to be pretty pissed off if I don't get my 30 million kills, and I am pretty sure that I will get my 30 million kills because the drama that unfolded after these allies were announced was absolutely insane. This drama, of course, can only be best explained through memes, so here's a good one. Big Migration, 556, and Diplo. Diplo superior to migration, it would seem. Facebook, noticing the love-hate relationship between 254 and 556, and some speculation that all of the kingdoms in this KvK with us are feeling a little bit weird about the fact that they might have to fight us. And initially, before the eve of the Crusade, when all the kingdoms trained up and now it's 3 Imperiums versus 3 Imperiums, there was a little bit of complaining on Facebook that maybe it's not fair. And I will point out, that I have been in this situation of being the 1 Imperium versus 3, and it's a bad situation being the 1 Imperium versus the 3 others. It was not good for us. No, that did not work out well. People think that we actually don't know how to do diplomacy, but like, we actually, as a kingdom, just generally choose tougher fights because we like to actually play the war game in Rise of Kingdoms, not just collect the commanders. When they are the underdogs, 254 is so bad at diplomacy. That's why they get bad allies, and they have all these, excuses. When they get better allies, shame on them. I mean, like, guys, everybody pretends that they don't Diplo wins, and yet everybody Diplos wins. Very few kingdoms Diplo fights. In fact, I will say my restart kingdom recently is one of the few kingdoms I've been in that also just Diplos fights. Like, we fought against an undefeated kingdom. We had the option to ally against an undefeated kingdom in Heroic Anthem, and our leadership, their leadership didn't get along, and so we fought them and we beat them. And in the KvK we're in now, we could have allied with a war camp that is like really insane, and we're fighting them because like we want a good fight. And, I'm not involved in all the Diplo, but let me show you one more thing. The real drama begins here. Breaking news. Fa, who is the leader of 556, was emotionally cheated by 2244 after they promised a bright future, and Fa swore to target 2244 to destroy them instead of 1254. So you mean to tell me that there is a kingdom that is a source of more drama and animosity than the relationship between 556 and 254, apparently our new ally, 2244. And Fa has some pictures. I don't know who you are and where you're from, but let me tell you how this really worked out. 2244 reached out to 556 and confirmed allied with us. So as a man of our word, we had decided to stop Diplo talks with other kingdoms and waited until today, which is when the map was revealed to finish the work. However, 556 was being lied to, and their king had given us his word, had switched up the side. No honorable in his words. I still got all the text if needed. Nothing wrong or toward 1254 in this. They're just doing what they need to secure the kingdom. And this is true. Like, Fa points out, every kingdom Diplos wins. Every kingdom Diplos wins. Not everyone from whom a post is from 556. This person, I don't think he's in our kingdom. The only grudge we have this KvK is 2244, not even 1254. We honestly don't even care about 1254 anymore because we do fight each other for about 1 year now. Nothing to prove with each other anymore. And this is true. This is why I wish in the last KvK, after our Zone 5 fight, they were like, hey, good fight. We're going to fight the rest of this KvK as best we can, but like, you really beat us there. Instead, they did everything they could to make us lose, even deleting flags one at a time so another kingdom could come to fight us, which was just, I thought, like, bro, that is a low blow, bro. Okay? I felt like that's not an honorable way to play a free-for-all KvK. So I'm glad that you're ready to move on. But obviously we were going to take this opportunity to ally favorably. And like, no offense to you, but like, you like, I'm not in Kingdom Diplo, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were thinking you did this to yourself. But I can see why in this situation where they're like, they know the Diplo is going to be stacked favorably against them, if at all possible for us, that they're pretty upset that they feel like they have this relationship with 2244 that obviously they don't have because we're allied with them, not 556. My God, that's a lot of drama. And so here we are in this Strife of the Eight KvK, where the enemy camp has the top 3 strongest alliances by power. We have 4, 5, and 6. And if we look at the kills for alliances, we have the number 1, number 2, and number 5 alliances by kills. They have the number 3, 4, and 6. So, I mean, this is just going to be an absolutely insane KvK where, like, look, by power, I mean, we have fought way too many difficult KvKs in a row. We have just dropped power, drop power, drop power, which is a fine thing for migrations, but also has a cost. Costs a lot of resources, costs a lot of speed ups, and costs a lot of power, which at the end of the day, I mean, I'm quite confident that players like Baba and MK and all the others at the top of this list are going to show us what you can do with a ridiculous amount of power. And if you want to see all of that fight unfolding, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss all of this insanity, because yes, it is going to be straight insane. For the first time, I will be battling against Baba TC Ataturk, and man, this is going to be a tough but fun KvK. Until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom, and check out that live stream where we entered KvK against these kingdoms. Card will be up in the top. You can see me tech up and all that good stuff.